Hi everyone, this is Jason Myris, and today we're going to be going through the configuration of a volume level locking SAN on OS 10 with the Accusys A12S2 12-bay PCIe 2.0 RAID array. This is a really nice RAID array for creative digital media. It's very high bandwidth, works really well with HD, 3D, 2K, or 4K material, and what we're going to be doing is sharing this RAID array to multiple workstations with a switch. And so here's the switch we're going to be using. It's the SW08Q4 PCIe 2.0 switch. It's a shoebox sized device with a number of ports in the back. These are called QSFP connectors, and this switch all by itself will allow us to support up to 8 workstations and 4 RAID arrays. And so what we need in order to coordinate access to our volume once we've got it shared across our switch is we need a SAN software solution. And so we're going to be using one from Studio Network Solutions called SAN-MP. SAN-MP is very sort of simple, elegant, easy to use SAN software solution. It gives you the ability to create multiple users and multiple volumes. It allows you to coordinate access between your users and volumes, and it doesn't require a tremendous amount of prior experience in order to run effectively. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a couple of volumes on SAN-MP, and we're going to go through how you can coordinate access to those volumes. Now, one of the important things to remember about a volume level locking SAN is that any user can read from any volume at any time, but only one user can write to any given volume at any time. And so we're going to be showing you how you can work around that one caveat, but overall, given the expense, performance, and ease of use, SAN-MP is a really nice solution if you find that a volume level locking workflow will work in your environment. So the first thing you want to do is click on the download tab, enter your information, and you'll be sent a link to the disk image. And once you have that disk image, you just want to go through installation of SAN-MP like you would for every other software you've installed. Now, one of the things that's important is SAN-MP has to go on every workstation, but this is technically, in this example, going to be our admin station, and so we've got a couple extra things that we want to do. Okay, when you get to this page, what you want to do is click Customize, and we see by default SAN-MP Client is going to be installed, but because this is our primary workstation for configuration, we're also going to want to add SAN-MP Admin. Now, SAN-MP Client simply just gives your users an interface to mount volumes that they need. SAN-MP Admin is a completely different interface. It's a different piece of software that only your administrators will launch so that they can create new volumes and manage users. So we're going to need both of those on this workstation. Now, this last option is called SNS protection for unconverted drives. We're actually going to turn this off. Classically, when you would create SAN-MP volumes in the past, what you would do is you would make sure that all of your workstations are off except for your admin station, so that when your new raw drives present themselves, they're not showing up on multiple workstations, which could possibly corrupt that volume. We're going to do that in this situation, but if you're in an environment where you cannot turn off all the workstations that are going to be connected to your SAN-MP network, you might want to use this, because what this will do is this will require a little bit of what we'll call user intervention in order to get brand new volume showing up on that machine. Essentially, you just have to click that you want that volume to mount. And what we're going to do is leave that off. If you need that, it could be useful in your environment if you need to keep certain machines on at all times. So we're going to click Install. We're going to enter our admin password. All right, and once this is done, we're going to need to restart our machine. Okay, so we're all finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click Restart, and we're going to come back and we're going to go through the configuration of our users and volumes. So we're back in OS 10, and now in order to get our RAID array prepped for SAN-MP conversion, what we want to do is go into our Macintosh hard drive, go into Applications, and we're going to go into Utilities, and we're going to look for Disk Utility. So if we open up Disk Utility, we're going to see our 33 terabyte Accusys A12 is all set for us to begin configuring for SAN-MP. So what we could do if we wanted to in a very simple fashion is we could literally just pick macOS Extended, give our SAN-MP RAID array a name, and this would literally, after we click Erase, be available as one large volume called SAN-MP that we'd be able to convert and add users to and begin using right away. Now, one of the things that might be useful in a volume level locking SAN is more than one partition, and this is where we would do that. We'd actually go into Disk Utility, create our partitions, give each of these names, which would be persistent and actually in use on our desktop once they were converted, and we could do something along the lines of a number of volumes like SAN MP1 and SAN MP2. And then if you wanted to, you could do something like render. And what would happen is you would actually have project media on this volume. This would be used for rendering, and maybe you use this for graphics. So this is a way that you can use partitions to make volume level locking SAN solution more flexible. So what we're going to do in our situation is we're just going to create two partitions. We're going to leave them equal in size, although if you want to rearrange how large each of them is, feel free to do that. And we're just going to make a simple 2-volume SAN with the idea that this gives us at least 2 locations that we can allow our artists to write to. So one of the things we want to check before we start is our partition scheme. So in classic versions of SAN MP, Apple Partition Map was the partition map that you would customarily use, but now with version 4 you can use GPT or GUID partition table. So we're using version 4, so we're going to grab that. And other than that, we've got our names in place, we've got our size set, and we're just going to click apply. Okay, so click away on your Time Machine backup, and so now we're all set. So we can close Disk Utility. We've got our 2 raw volumes here. These would be normally usable right away if you were not using them in a SAN solution, but what we're going to want to do is we need to coordinate access to these volumes with SAN MP. Remember, we only have one workstation accessing our network right now, so these volumes are safe. If we had more than one workstation, there's a possibility that you could get away with your installation. You just need to verify that no users were attempting to write anything to these drives while we're attempting to convert them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Applications again, and we want to grab our SAN MP admin and client from the SAN MP folder, and what we're going to do is just drag those to the desktop so we can access them easier. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is click on SAN MP admin. Remember, this is a completely independent piece of software. Once we launch it, we're going to find that because of our trial we have 45 opportunities to mount our volumes. Once that's done, you can choose to use SAN MP, buy a license, and continue on. If not, it's easy to uninstall. We're going to continue our trial, and here we are, we're asked for our password. So from the factory, the default password for SAN MP is admin PW111, so ADMIN PW111. Alright, so now we have access to our RAID array. Our RAID array has the 2 partitions we've created, and our next goal is to convert our volumes. Now, when we convert a RAID array, we convert the entire unit. So essentially we can't convert just one, so we're just going to click on our RAID array, and we're going to click Convert Disk. We're given a bunch of options. Because of the fact that we're using Mac OS Extended Journaled, it's possible for us to actually have media on these arrays if we had put media on them before partitioning, that would be, and actually do a non-destructive conversion. What that would mean is any video or media files that were on the array would be left alone while the SAN MP table of contents and database were written to our 2 volumes here. So if that's the case, you can certainly go ahead and do that. You can also do a destructive conversion, which would actually format the volumes fresh again. This would be as if they were actually converted to SAN MP volumes and also run through Disk Utility again during that process. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a non-destructive conversion and just click Continue. We're going to convert. Alright, so we've successfully converted our 2 volumes, and now you can see the icons have changed. They're not available on our desktop yet, and that's because now that they are SAN MP volumes, we need to add users, then log in as a user and mount those volumes. So what we're going to do now is create a couple users. So we have SAN MP1. All we need to do is just create a user. I'm just going to do something basic like edit 01, and I'm going to use a password of the same. And we're going to click OK. And one of the things we find is that as we add users, these are universal for all of the volumes. So if we click SAN MP2, this user is already available here to be assigned. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, just for the example here, create one more user. and the same password. And so now we have 2 users. So a very basic situation would be that you allow all users to access all volumes, and to do that all you simply need to do is click on a volume, click on each user read and write, and do that again for the same on the next volume. If we had multiple volumes, we would just repeat that process. However, there's a couple things that you can do if you'd like to, which a lot of people find useful and common in a SAN MP installation. Sometimes if you have edit 1, they might look at a certain volume as their primary volume. And in that case, what you would do is you would let edit 1 read and write from your first volume, but then maybe what you'll do is let edit 2 read only. And what that does is that kind of gives you a little bit of an assignment where you're channeling where your users are able to keep their data. And that might be a nice management tool for you. And then likewise for SAN MP2, we're going to let edit 2 look at that as their primary array, but they're going to be read only for edit 1. Another option you can do is write exclusive, and this sort of creates a Dropbox style functionality like you might have seen on network file share, whereas if we were to go and give this user write exclusive privileges, this could be for, say, a user that is primarily ingesting media for you at night and needs to put data on the volumes, but you want to make sure that they don't read anything or delete anything off of that volume. So you can always click that as well. So once you have that configured, this can be as complex as you like. Also remember that if you need to, let's say that we have more than one volume, we can go and we can actually modify the users after the fact, and then we can delete them as well. So a couple other things require password for next login, and then you can also go and click to disable the mounting of the volume. So really straight ahead, very nice. It gives you the stats in terms of your current usage and how the volume is configured, its size, how much space is available, and the number of people currently reading and writing to it. So once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to actually quit out of SAN MP admin, and we're going to go into SAN MP client, and we're going to mount our volumes for the first time. So here we are again with a little bit of trial information. So we want to continue in trial, and one more thing to click through. Okay, so now we are being presented with our login for SAN MP client, and because of the fact that we're going to be edit 1, what we're going to do is, if I remember correctly, we actually had edit 01, so we're going to go edit 01, and we're going to log in. All right, so what we've got now is our interface that our users are going to take a look at. So we have SAN MP 1 and 2. Basically, we can see, because of the way we configured it, we have read-write access to our primary volume, which is SAN MP 1. We have read-only access, if we like, to SAN MP 2. And so we're just going to go and we're going to click on SAN MP 1, and we're going to mount it read-write. And here it is. And then we're going to click on SAN MP 2. And we're going to mount it read-only, because that's all we have permission to do. And for the most part, this is it. I mean, we have a functioning ExaSAN A12 based SAN MP system in place, and we can read and write to these volumes and start working on our projects. So these will work just like any other array that you might have used in the past. If we take a look here, we can see that while we could grab things off of this array, we're not allowed to write to it. If we take a look at a volume that we do have access to and we just want to say drop this alias on it, there we are, we can write to it. So in the end, you have a fully functioning volume level locking network. This has been an Accusys A12 demonstration with SAN MP along with the SW08 Q4 switch. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.